everyone. Welcome to season 2, episode 2 of Youth in the Loop, a talk show geared at youth, for the youth, youth expressing themselves in controversial issues. I am your host, Philippa Dixon-Lamy. With us today, we have Caitlin, Gabby, and Japheth. Today's discussion will be on the topic building resilience in the age of constant comparison, social media pressure. According to the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, resilience is the ability of a body or a person to recover from or adjust to stress, change, or misfortune. It is also the process and outcome of successfully adapting to difficult or challenging life experiences, especially through mental, emotional, and behavioral flexibility and adjustment to external demands. A number of factors contribute to how well people adapt to adversities or what is happening around them. One, the ways in which individuals view and engage with the world. Two, the availability and quality of social resources. And three, specific coping strategies. Comparison is one of the most common obstacles to building resilience. It keeps us focused on what others have instead of what we need, what we are learning, and who we are becoming. It is more than a mindset. Recent research shows social media comparison increases depression symptoms. Comparison-focused thinking can reduce goal achievement by 33%. 76% of people feel more authentic when they stop tracking others. Very interesting. Now, have you ever asked yourself, what is the story behind certain posts that persons post on social media?
So yeah, I can remember a few instances, especially on Facebook, where persons would share highlights of their life, specifically couples. So what they would normally do is that they would share like certain vacations or certain promotions that they get, such as either promotion at work or maybe if they just bought a new house. So basically, it's just for exposure to show persons on the internet that, hey, I have achieved something in life and they want to share it, obviously, with the world.
Hmm, very good. Ladies, go ahead.
I think for me, specifically, when I'm looking on Instagram, I look at different influencers who are posting either beauty hacks or, recommending certain like gym supplements. And I want to see like what is their purpose for posting it. And it's
Mhm,
oftentimes because they're getting paid to promote something or it looks better
mhm.
for their profile. So I think it's really important to see why someone is posting something and what are they trying to get you to receive based off that post.
Okay. Caitlin?
Yes, I'd have to agree with both of my fellow panelists. A lot of times people will post on social media as either to essentially kind of like a humble brag about their lives, their lifestyle, how good things are going for them. Um, Sometimes, very rarely, you won't necessarily see people posting about the negatives in their lives. They're really going to post about the positives. And I
Mhm,
feel as though, at least for me growing up, like in high school, for example, with Facebook, like I didn't realize that people were just posting all the positive things in their lives. I would just see, like, I just thought, oh, wow, everyone's life is so exciting. They're doing so many great things, this and that. Whereas, and I would find myself unintentionally kind of comparing my lifestyle with theirs. I'm like, wow, they're going to this place, to that place, they're going to
mhm.
this restaurant, all of these awesome, amazing places. And meanwhile, I'm just coming back from school, studying, watching a couple of hours of TV, and then going to bed. Like it felt as if doing things like that, like watching social media, it can kind of put you into this cycle of just comparing yourself with others and kind of feeling as if maybe you're not necessarily adequate enough, like your life isn't
Mhm.
as exciting or good enough as others.
So
And
do you think, yes, you stated that they're just posting, all three of you, they posted the positives and not focusing on the negatives. So all this could be a sham.
oh, absolutely. I think to some extent it can be, just because the way how people will, it's like you have to keep in mind with the way how people post on their social media, it tends to just be like the highlight, right? But you're not with the person 24/7. So it could be like they're having a horrible day and then they just happen to have like a positive moment in their life and they post about that. And
Mm-hmm.
you looking into their life, like as an outsider on their social media, you're thinking, wow, their lives are amazing. But it's
Mm-hmm.
not really the truth. It's more so a bit of a facade. I wouldn't go as far as to say like it's a sham,
Mm-hmm.
but I would say like practice caution, like don't think that it's always greener on the other side because you don't know what's going on
Ah,
in those
I
lives.
love that.
Like you have to practice a lot of caution. Don't just think like, oh, they have things are going so well in their lives. You don't really know. You're not with them
Mm-hmm.
all the time.
That's true. That's true. Question. Have you ever tried to replicate others you see on social media? And this goes for all three of you. Have you ever tried to replicate others you see on social media?
Well, in a sense, yes. I'm a very high basketball fan. So like there are like a lot of NBA players that I follow. So whenever I go out and exercise to play basketball, I would basically try to emulate their move. For example, Kobe Bryant, the late Kobe Bryant. Whenever I go and exercise and I shoot the ball, I'm saying, "Oh, Kobe," that type of way. So cases like that, I would emulate them because I kind of see them as like role models. Because like a lot of us, young people growing up, we heard of Kobe, we heard of LeBron James, and sometimes us as men, what we would do when we're exercising is to
Mhm.
call these guys name, as a form of respect. So in that aspect, I would, see myself as emulating them, at least at the realm of exercise. So yeah,
Okay. And that's a good thing.
definitely. Yeah.
Yes. Gabby?
I mean, I'd be lying if I say I didn't. I think oftentimes you can see a cool picture from your friends' social media or like influencers where they did a specific pose or they organized their page in a specific way. And so you screenshot it and save it for later that you want to emulate. So I think that's like a very common thing, especially I think more for girls to do as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Kathleen?
Um, I think when I was younger, definitely. Now that I'm a bit older, I'm like, not as much. I think if anything, if it's something positive, like for example, relating to Christianity, like let's say someone is talking about their walk with Christ, something that they did in their journey that they tried, and I thought, okay, that doesn't seem like a bad idea. Let me try that too. That might help me out in some way. So I think it's more so like that. I try to, when depending on whatever type of feed I'm looking at, I try to see like, okay, what is something that might benefit me in some way? What can I take from it and add it to my life? And
Mm-hmm.
if it's something that might not really benefit me in any way, I try to stay away from it.
Okay. So when you compare yourself to others, what are the words that come to mind? What are some of the words that come to mind? And what feelings do you experience?
I think that's a very good question. Well, I can speak for myself. I'm 27 years old, right? And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes on, let me see, probably YouTube or Facebook again, I would see certain guys my age and they would be like posting up this new house that they bought or this new car that they acquired. And then it's like, I look at myself and the phrase that comes to mind is that, am I good enough? Am I doing enough? Like, am I lagging behind compared to this guy on the internet? Like, so The way how I feel whenever I compare myself to somebody on the internet is that I feel inadequate. I
Yeah.
feel like I'm not doing enough. I feel like I'm lagging behind. There's way more that I could do. But of course, because of different circumstances, I'm
Mhm.
not at that level yet. So the way how I feel personally is that I sometimes feel inadequate when I compare myself to other persons on the internet.
Okay, awesome. Gabby, what are your experiences, your feelings?
I totally agree with the word inadequate. I think as a student, I often see many other students posting about their academic achievements and organizations and clubs that they're a part of. And it's like, oh, I don't think I'm doing enough. Oh, this person got an A in organic chemistry and I'm struggling in organic chemistry. Or this person went in this huge professional conference and I didn't even write my first published paper yet. So I think oftentimes it's you feel like you don't measure up and you think you need to be continue to be doing more in order to live up to a standard that you don't even know what the whole person is doing as well.
Kathleen?
For me, I think more so like when I first started to use social media, I would oftentimes feel a bit insecure. Um, just like what Jafet was saying, where it's kind of like you find yourself comparing your lifestyle to others,
Mhm.
especially if someone is further along in their life, whether let's say they're in a relationship or they're married, they have kids, this and that. Whereas you may, in my case, still be a student studying hard. It's kind of like, oh man, like, geez, like I wish I was like that too. Or I wish my life was in that like my life was in that place as well. Some other feelings that I used to have were like jealousy or envy. But then I realized, like, after having a couple of conversations with some of my family members, I realized, like, okay, that's more so something within me that I need to work on. Because
Mhm.
regardless, whatever someone may post on their page or their feed, whatever it is, I should still, it's kind of like you should be happy for them, but not feel as if you're lacking because you don't have the same thing that they have. So, what I learned from those experiences is that it's always good to keep in mind that you're on a different path than other people. And God has something different in mind for you than they may have. And
Mhm.
just because you may not be at that same milestone as others are, that doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you or that you're lacking or that, like everyone else is better than you or anything like that. It doesn't mean any of that. It just means that in His timing for you, that's when these things will appear, if they're meant to appear. And once when I accepted that, I felt significantly better and I stopped having a lot of those negative feelings and emotions.
Okay, both yourself and Gabby made mention of trying to measure up with others. When you try to measure up, there are times it causes you to lose track of your own values. Have you ever experienced that? The question is thrown out.
I think yes. I think often when you're trying to measure up to somebody, you often want to do anything to get ahead, and you can lose track of what's really important and what you value true to you. I think, like in my case, trying to measure up where I picked up two jobs that I have right now, and it's and it's like
Mm.
as a student, that's very difficult to manage with like 18 credit coursework, master work.
Well, that's a whole lot.
Yes, and it's like, what am I really trying to do here? Am I doing this for me or am I doing this to other people in order to please other people? So I think that's one of the really important questions that you have to ask yourself.
Uh, Very interesting. Japhet?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm still trying to recollect the question. Can you just say it one more time for me?
No, it says, do you try to measure up to others? And in doing that, it
Mhm.
causes you to lose track of does it cause you to lose track of your values?
Oh, yes. Definitely. Sometimes, at least for me, sometimes I feel like in looking and comparing to other person's like accomplishments, I kind of feel like I lose track of the importance of enjoying the journey before you reach the destination. Of course, the journey is also important, but because, of course, on social media, again, a lot of persons are posting where they have arrived to, getting new stuff or being married, having kids, doing so well. Like,
Mhm.
sometimes they don't often tell how hard it was, how much tears they cried, how much time they were up late at night, not knowing how they're gonna reach where they're gonna reach. And so, like in my case, it's like I just want to enjoy the journey before reaching the destination. And I think that's the most important thing for me.
Okay. You wish to comment, Kathleen?
Um, I agree with what Jafet was saying. Like, it's so important to focus on your own individual journey, instead of focusing on other people's journey. Because, like he was saying, like you don't know the amount of hours that people have cried, the tears that have been shed, the
Mhm.
sweat, the all of it. Like, not to mention the amount of pep talks that they probably needed to have in order to get to that state that they're in right now, to get to that success that God has blessed them with. Um, I mean, to answer your question, I'm trying to think, like, did I ever try to adjust my lifestyle? Probably. Like, maybe if I saw like people were posting more, then I would be like, okay, I'm gonna post more too. Like, my life is also awesome, you know? Probably like immature things like that. But um nowadays, I just try to, with my social media, I try to focus on just capturing the beauty in the small things in my life and the big things too, but mainly the small things, and to appreciate the tiny moments and
Mm-hmm.
everything, because there's beauty in everything. And so I try to always like, and I use that as a reminder for me. Like sometimes when I may be having a bad day and I go back to my page and I'll go into like my archive stories and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember when this happened, or I forgot about this. And that helps me to feel a lot better. And I feel like that also gives me like that, kind of like a reminder that if things are not as positive right now, eventually they will be later on.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so do you compare yourself to others, telling yourself that you are not attractive or successful enough? Have you ever done that?
Not attractive. I think I could speak on the not attractive part. Sometimes, well, not now, but when I was younger, I used to compare myself to like, and this is kind of touchy, but the guys who are on a lighter complexion. So
Mm.
it seems as if the guys who were of a lighter complexion got more attention from people, got more success, got more attention from girls. And I was like, I want to be attractive too, but I can't really change my skin color. I can't change who I am.
Exactly.
And so that was a struggle that I had, as again when I was younger, but now as I matured and got older, I love me. I love me. I love my skin color. Black
Yes.
is beautiful, so praise God for that. But yeah,
Yes.
at that age, specifically at the teenager stage, I kind of struggled with that, especially, on social media, on Instagram and so forth. Mhm.
Okay. So you have grown above that right now
Yeah, praise God. Hallelujah.
because you're tall, dark, and handsome.
Amen to that.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, ladies, what do you have to say about that? You comparing yourself to others, telling yourself that you are not attractive or successful enough.
I mean, I completely agree with Jafet said. I went to a predominantly white high school in a predominantly white area. And so what was considered beautiful was more Eurocentric features. And I was the only black girl in my grade. So nobody really looked like me. No one had the same hair texture. Nobody talked the same way I did. Nobody ate the same foods that I did. And I used to think that I didn't measure up to the level of beauty standards because of nobody wanted me in that way. And it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't until I think I went back to the Caribbean and they're like, oh, you're so beautiful, you're gorgeous. And it's really just the environment that you're in and the beauty standards change. So I think in that way, I've definitely compared myself to my environment to where I am.
And you have learned to appreciate who you are and what
Yes.
you're all about. Awesome. Kathleen?
I think for me, it was more so about comparing success when I was much younger, or when I first started using social media. It was more like seeing other people, like, for example, if they were able to get this scholarship or if they were able to get accepted into this academic program at our school or something like that. I felt like that was kind of something that might have I guess that was something that I would compare myself with, like, oh man, like I want to be there too. Like, why is it that, they are at this place and I'm not, and so on. Um, but over time, how I kind of like refocused my mindset is just like, okay, I'm going to focus on me. The person that I'm competing against is the me of yesterday. So I would always keep that in mind, like, okay, I was able to accomplish this much at this stage of my life. Okay, what can I do better to like overcome that? How can I use these resources that God has blessed me with to be able to achieve even more than what I had before? And I felt like doing that really helped me to stop feeling like that envy that would like pile up in my chest and stuff. It helped me stop feeling as insecure. And instead I used it as more of a motivator.
Okay, I love that. I love that. All three responses, I love that at the end of the day, you all learn to love yourself some more and to stop really comparing yourselves to others because you're all beautiful in God's sight and you're all beautiful in my sight as well. Advertising bombards us with images of perfect bodies, relationship, and lifestyles. What are your views on this? Even though previously Japhet had touched it a little bit, but what are your views on this?
I completely agree. I feel as though, especially now that I'm
Mhm.
on like Instagram a little bit more, it's like let's say I'm watching a reel or something like that, it's like after every two or so reels, a ad will pop up about some type of hair product, some type of makeup product, some type of app or something, and it's just nonstop. I mean, I remember back then when Instagram used to have where when you're looking at your feed, it would show you everything that everyone would post. And then when you finish watching, like once we finish looking at everything, that was it. So it's kind of like, okay, well, there's nothing else to look at, so let me get off the app. But now it's like it's constantly feeding you nonstop information in one way or another. It's like you're watching something and then there's like a little message in the bottom that's like, okay, why don't you click on something else or watch this other ad or this one's coming up next. And it's like it's constantly putting in, if you're not careful, it's going to put you into this cycle of like, okay, let me just keep looking, keep looking, keep looking.
Mhm.
And then hours go by and you're like, where did the time go? Like I just spent 2 hours on this app when I said I was only going to spend 5 minutes. Like what's going on?
Mhm. Distracted.
It's crazy. It's
Mhm.
like it's nonstop.
Yeah. Japheth?
Yeah, so the question was asking, just repeat it one more time for me so I can get
It
hooked up.
says advertising bombards us with images of perfect bodies,
Mhm.
relationship, and lifestyles. What are your views on this?
An advertisement. Well, I agree with what Caitlin says. It does use up a lot of time, especially, well, these days it seems like Facebook and YouTube is almost the same in terms of the advertisement. Like, however, it seems to be that depending on what you're doing, the algorithm works in such a way that how can I put this? It targets you. So, for example, if I'm watching a basketball game, right, on my computer,
Mhm.
they have certain advertisements that are geared towards men specifically. And I realized this trend. So even though, well, for me personally, I skip these advertisements very quickly. It's just nonstop. It's talking about gambling, it's talking about women, and I'm like, it's very unnecessary. So for me personally, it's very annoying. However, how I handle it is that I just click skip and continue moving. I don't like dwell on the information that is presented before me because I know it's geared towards a specific demographic of people. So in terms of that, I just skip it.
Yeah.
I
So,
don't waste no time.
so you're seeing everything. You're watching a basketball game, and the enemy would just put something in there to lure you away somewhat. Luckily,
That
you're a
is
strong person.
Praise God, that is correct. Especially when it comes to gambling, it seems that it's becoming even more popular these days. And again, it's geared towards men. And because, they have this facade of, oh, you're going to win a whole lot of money. They even bring it into sports, and it's outrageous, honestly.
Yeah, yeah, distracting. Gabby.
I think advertising, it's very dangerous. I think for me specifically, for example, I grew up struggling with acne. Acne was a big insecurity with mine. And
Mhm.
so what my For You page would focus on was influencers or ads focused on trying to clear acne, how to clear your dark spots in 3 days, how to clear all your pimples in 5 days. And so you end up scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, seeing all these different people with beautiful, clear faces buy this product and you'll be fixed, and you end up feeling a lot worse about yourself afterwards and
Yeah.
would spend a whole bunch of money and nothing's working. And I think for me, what really fixed my acne is when I stopped listening to other people's advice
Mm-hmm.
and just focused on doing my own thing, doing my own research, and finally trying to cleanse my acne from within instead of using external factors. So I
Yeah.
think advertisements on Instagram, especially, are very, I guess, troubling, especially for young minds,
Mm-hmm.
because you can end up down a rabbit hole you don't know how to get out of.
Can just imagine. Luckily, you're all three strong young people. You're really strong. So you're not easily influenced. Based on what I'm hearing from all three of you, social media does not impact on you in a negative way. And that's commendable. Yeah. The final question I have here. Imagine yourself 1 month from now, living free from making comparisons, stronger in your own unique resilience. Describe the changes you see. Imagine yourself 1 month from now, living free from making comparisons. You're stronger in your own unique resilience. Describe the changes you see.
Well, first things first, what I can say is that in terms of a confidence level, it will be better because now that you're not comparing yourself to other people on the internet, you will have your own individuality. You'll see yourself as, okay, I'm this person, that's who I am, and I'm going to embrace my flaws. I'm going to embrace my individuality. So a sense of confidence after a month for sure is going to be there. So that's the first thing that comes to mind is a improve in self-worth and self-confidence.
Love that.
I think I would be happier because I would be seeing my value, in God instead of my value in other people and what they're doing. So I think I would be more happy, more confident because I'm not comparing every action that I'm doing, everything I'm doing to other people.
Okay.
I think for me, I would be a lot more productive. I would be like, instead of using that time on my phone, just watching all these videos and whatever, or looking at people's feeds and their Instagram posts and so on. I would be using my time much more productively, focusing on bettering myself,
Mhm.
bettering my environment, and strengthening my relationship with God. I think I would also be um, a lot more positive as well, and trying to share like whatever it is that I learned in my own experiences with other people. So I think that's probably what I would look like in 1 month from now.
Okay. So what advice would you all give to someone struggling with comparison?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is stay off the internet. But of course,
That is very
that's
unlikely.
yeah, that is impossible. But
Yes.
again, going back to what the two other panelists say, find your individuality in God. Spend more time in His Word, praying, meditating on His Word, and then through His Word, He's going to show you how much value you hold to Him. It's not about how much makeup you put on. It's not about how much, hair extensions you have. It's not about your skin color. It's how God sees you in His eyes, and that's the most important thing. So read the Bible, meditate on it, and then see the value that God has placed on your life through His Word.
Well said. Gabby?
I think in like more practical terms, limit your social media use. The rules I have for myself, which I'm still trying to abide by, is no social media before 12 p.m. and no social media after 10 p.m.
Okay.
And There's a study that did research on this because the dopamine levels in your brain affect how you see social media, how it influences you. And so I think that's like the best way in order to stop comparing yourself to others.
Awesome. Kathleen.
The advice that I have in mind would be, first, rather than spending time on your phone, like definitely I agree with limiting the amount of time that you're on your phone, but also just focus on yourself and focus on your relationship with God. Determine what are things like when you're on social media and you notice that you feel certain ways about whatever it is that's posted, write those down and then talk to like a trusted advisor or mentor or your parents, whoever, and try to see like what are ways that I can overcome those insecurities. What are ways that I can help myself feel better about that? Like, is if I feel as though I'm jealous about someone's performance in their academics, or I'm jealous about someone's I don't know, like their success in life. How can I be able to overcome those inadequacies? What can I do to get better and become a better person so I can stop feeling badly about this? Then I would also say, like, focus more on prayer as well. Communicate with God. Ask God to show you what are things that I find within myself that are lacking. How can I overcome this? And how can I become stronger? And also, like, if I'm missing something from my life that I don't have right now, ask God for it. If it is his will, it will come to be. I would also say, like, spend more time with your family members and your friends. Sometimes with social media, when you're constantly on it, it can cause you to be isolated. Um, and then when you kind of have to get back to real life, it kind of
Mhm.
dulls everything in a weird way. It's like it's an odd way to describe it, but it's as if things aren't as vibrant as they normally would be. And so what I would say is take more time to enjoy the present. Go outside, like spend time in nature, read more books, spend more time with God, exercise more, drink water, do all the things that are really important for you because that can help you to feel better.
Yes.
Um, and lastly, just talk to, a family member and just exchange stories with them. Try to
Mm.
connect in the present. That's the advice that I would give to whoever is struggling with this.
Okay, and I realize all three of you had a main factor, God, focusing on God. And once we focus on Him and spend less time on the internet, you will stop comparing yourself with others. And that is key. So it starts with tuning into your own needs and priorities, not someone else's pace or path. Humans are naturally wired to compare. It's how we assess our place in the world. The cycle of comparison can have far-reaching effects on mental and emotional well-being, including decreased self-esteem. Constantly measuring yourself against others can make you feel like you're never enough. Increased anxiety and depression, striving to meet unrealistic standards, this can lead to feelings of inadequacy and hopelessness. And finally, loss of authenticity. When you focus on how you measure up to others, you may lose sight of your own values and desires. So breaking free from comparison unit about ignoring others or abandoning social media, it's about shifting your focus inward and redefining your sense of worth. And all three of you touched that. Recognize that what you see on social media isn't always the full picture. People share their highlights, not their struggles. Understanding that social media is a curated reality can help you stop comparing yourself behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reels. So the next time you catch yourself scrolling and comparing, pause. Take a deep breath. Remind yourself that your journey is yours alone. and that's something no one can replicate. Hebrews 12, verse 2 encourages us to persevere by looking to Jesus, who for the joy set before him endured the cross. A big thank you to my panel of young people for making episode 2 of season 2 possible. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. This was Youth in the Loop. Bye for now. Bye.